What's up? Been a while. I bought a new mistake. So this is my 2001 Rave Green GTI, Volkswagen GTI obviously, VR6, GLX, depending on how you look up the VIN. GLX meaning luxury GTI essentially. It's a trim they had in the first half of the Mark IV, so from 98, 99 to about 2002 and a half, which is also, funny enough, when they switched from the 12 valve to the 24 valve, which the other car has. So paint code LC6W, Rave Green, super rare. I'm not exactly sure how many were made in a 12 valve or 1.8T, but it's in the couple of hundreds. It's very low, probably rarer than most R32 colors. And actually, another fun fact, in the mid-cycle refresh, when they did the 24 valve, a couple of these cars were able to be ordered still with these limited colors that Volkswagen were offering: Rave Green, Tropic Orange, Cosmic Green, yada yada yada. And so there's 20 Rave Green 24 valve GTIs out there. I don't know if it's just in the US or globally, but even then it's just ridiculous. It's super rare. And if there are even any with no sunroof, it's even rarer. So that's like another option. These cars were actually able to be ordered without a sunroof, but most Mark IVs came with a sunroof, including the R32. It was not an option on the R32, so you had to have it. I'm from the school of sports cars don't have sunroofs, and I know that's kind of like something that's a hot topic for debate, but that's where I stand on that. So if I could have a GTI without a sunroof, I would. TTRS has no sunroof. My previous Porsche didn't have a sunroof, and it's just the way it's supposed to be. Funny enough, my RS3 had a sunroof, and it creaked like crazy, and that just kind of added to my confirmation bias about it. So anyway, I want to give a shout out to One Love Auto Group. They were who I got this car through. Brian, super stand-up guy. I saw that he acquired this car, and they were either going to tear it apart for parts or kind of, get it sort of back on its feet and resell it. And before it even hit their site or their Instagram or anything like that, I just contacted Brian and I was like, "Hey man, I got an idea. I want to save this car. Could you just flip it back over to me? I'll bore you I'll skip the boring details, but we ended up making the deal, and he ended up bringing the car over to me, which was an awesome turn of events. He had to pick up a service car here in New Jersey, and so he was able to actually trailer it here and drop it off for me, which was awesome. So saved myself the hassle of having to get a trailer and go out there and get it and all that stuff like that. Quick housekeeping before we go into any of the details on this car. So a lot of you have been asking about the all-wheel drive swap. I'd say it's kind of on pause right now. Only reason for it is this house I'm in right now. So Gina and I bought a house back in February. We moved in. It's an older house, needs a lot of work. So I've had my hands full with house mods, #house mods, trying to get the house kind of in a presentable fashion. And so doing heavy work like an all-wheel drive conversion, welding, cutting, fabrication, stuff like that, it's just not something I'm prepared to do in this garage right now. So I would have to go back home and work out of my father's shop, which, is something that I'm super lucky to have the opportunity to do. But I've just had my handful. And so, fast forward and, moral of the story is I can't work on that right now. I don't know what I'm going to do with it right now. I can't really think about it right now. And so this project is something I can tinker with in this garage, get this car kind of roadworthy, mechanically sound, and begin driving it and think about what I want to do with it. Maybe this car will get the all-wheel drive swap. Maybe the VRT will get the all-wheel drive swap. Who knows at this point? Just having fun and playing. I'm not doing this for YouTube views. I'm not doing this for AdSense revenue, anything like that. I'm playing. You guys have seen the result of me playing. So I guess without further ado, let's get into the car. Let me show you the good, the bad, the ugly, everything about it. If you're here from VRSociety, welcome. This channel is not just VRSociety related. I do some work on my TTRS. We do some work on my girlfriend Gina's 350Z, but I am VRSociety, and all of the VRSociety projects are going to be kind of broken down on this channel. So if you're interested, subscribe. If you don't like the other content, feel free to completely skip it. That's totally fine. But this is, for lack of a better description, the VRSociety YouTube channel as of right now. So welcome. So I guess we'll start outside of the car. So first thing to notice, early Mark IV. It's got some clear coat issues. Luckily, all of the clear coat issues are on mostly removable panels. So I could potentially take them off, send them out to get painted, and then we'll be in good shape. You know, the hatch is in good shape. It even has all its badges, which is crazy because a car like this that's been, you know, traded around, usually people debadge it at some point. But the roof is straight besides pollen. No real clear coat issues there. I got a little thing here. But again, on the hatch, removable panel. But the quarters are sound. Quarters are super sound. It's got this neat little pinstripe, which I think was something that they added at the dealership as like a kind of a day one mod. I don't know what they call them nowadays. Dealership option. Got a small little rust bubble and peeling paint here. Again, it's on the door, removable panel. Little clear coat here. What else? Hood. The hood and the bumper also. So we got this here. Got a little bit down here. But again, it's like a 5-footer because of this paint code. When it's cleaned up and shined up and maybe add like a little layer of ceramic coat or something like that, that becomes almost unnoticeable. I mean, you could see if I step back a couple of feet, it almost already disappears. So I'm not gonna get too worried about that, at least not in the early days. You know, after the car's mechanically sound and it's running great and all that, then we'll get into the kind of aesthetics of it, figure out what I want to do with the body panels. Do I want to get valances, side skirts, lip spoiler, all that stuff. Let me just open this back up. So that's it from the exterior, I think. I already had these off. I don't have them off right now, but Mark IVs tend to rust right over here because what happens is crud falls into the rain tray, and this leads basically right down into this area behind the wheel well. PSA, second PSA of mine on this channel, if you have a Mark IV, periodically take this off. Once a year is probably enough. Usually, you know, when you go to winterize the car or maybe take it out of winter storage, get in here, clean it out, and make sure there's nothing in here anymore. Both sides of the car. Do yourself a favor. It's easy. If you're gonna have the wheels off, swapping winter wheels or something like that, takes no time. It's a couple of T25 torques and you're golden. And you'll prevent yourself a lot of pain when that rust inevitably will come. So besides that, car is super straight. No rust anywhere else as far as I can see. Again, I haven't really gotten too far underneath the car just yet, and I will in another video, but yeah, super straight. All right, so let's take a look inside. So we got some leather issues on the seats. Maybe they're going to replace these with high bolster leathers from the mid-cycle refresh like my GTI had when it came from the factory. Those are the square bolsters. So these are the round bolsters. These come on the earlier cars. And you can see these have had a lot of love over the years. The rears aren't so bad, so it didn't have too many people in the back over there, but the fronts have obviously have pretty decent amount of weather beating. Carpets are in decent shape, no tears, which is a good sign. It means it had some, you know, nice mats in here for the majority of its life. Usually they get a tear over there from the heel of your foot if you don't have mats, so that's a nice thing to kind of discover. Again, it's a GLX, so it's all wood. So this is wood, this is wood. Basically everything that an R32 would be aluminum is wood in this car. And besides that, you know, I'd probably replace this either with the black trim or some aluminum trim in the future, something like that. Needs a glove box, door handle, you know, and just miscellaneous trim. It's really just kind of a lot of nitpicky details. It needs a headliner fabric, which is, you know, cool to see because I have my original headliner from my other GTI, which I can swap into this. if I want to keep this gray. So that'll be a non-issue. And it'll be something that we can do a quick fix on, or maybe we'll just rewrap it. Who knows? Haven't gotten that far yet. But, all right. So, oh yeah. So this goes into one of the issues that I think is going to be causing some of the codes that you're going to see in like a couple of seconds. But right now, ignition switch is out of the car, or out of the lock cylinder. And in the lock cylinder, the little piece is like a little nipple that sticks out. Maybe I'll grab a little screenshot here. There's a little nipple that sticks out here that turns the lock cylinder, or the ignition switch, sorry. And that doesn't work. That whole thing doesn't work right now. So essentially right now what I gotta do, stick the key in the ignition, turn it to the accessory position, or the run position, and then turn this like this, and the car will start. Kind of wacky, but that's probably going to be the first thing I address, because this may be the cause of a lot of the codes that I'm seeing. If this thing's kind of like having an immobilizer fit right now because of that issue, that might resolve a bunch of the others, and then I'll actually know what's left. Let's get in there. Let's take the VAGCOM, hook it up, and see what we currently got, and I'll walk you through the list, and yeah, let's go from there. All right, so mechanically, engine is pretty sound. Doesn't really have too many issues or weird noises, besides a couple of things that I could see on the surface, at least. Obviously, I'll know more when I get into kind of tearing the car apart. I'm probably going to put the car in service mode soon, which is, for all of you who are not familiar with Volkswagen, service mode is essentially swinging out or removing the radiator support here, which holds the fans, the bumper support, the reinforcement bar, all of that stuff. You're allowed to, you're basically able to swing it out or remove it or extend it with these support rods, and that allows you to service things like the intake manifold and the front coolant pipe, and among other things that are on the front of the engine that you can't get to otherwise. So that being said, it has no coolant right now, and judging by where it's leaking from or where I'm seeing drops from, I'm almost positive it's got a crack in the crack pipe or front coolant pipe, whatever you want to call it, technical term. YouTube, please don't strike me for that. So yeah, I'm gonna get in there and take a look at that, replace that. Hopefully it holds coolant after that. I'm sure, I wouldn't even doubt if it has a couple of dry rotted hoses that I'll have to replace. So that's par for the course. I'm expecting all of that with an old car like this. The car has 190,000 miles, no, 160,000 miles on it right now. So, you know, it's going to have some issues. I mean, my car, the GTI, has 118,000 miles, and I've had to replace things like this already. So I kind of figured as much. I think the chains are good. I think I might be lucky there. I might not have to do them, at least right now, but I'm going to take a look at them, see if I can get an idea on the tensioners and their health, their current health, the chains itself, change the oil, obviously, things like that. I think I'm going to replace the battery because it kind of has an old battery in there right now. And other than that, it's pretty mechanically sound, engine-wise. It's got codes, but again, I don't want to trust those codes until I have the lock cylinder ignition switch situation sorted out and see where we end up after that. I think the car might become a lot happier and just, you know, I got a lot of reading to do to learn about it. But yeah. So now we'll go in and I'll take a look at the VAGCOM auto scan and show you guys what it spits out, so you can see just how much of a CVS receipt this code list is. All right, so let me show you guys how this thing currently needs to be started. So got the valet key, put it in. I got to turn it to the run position. So because this is not connected right now, I don't actually get a signal from the dash, but put it in the run position. And then I got the ignition switch right here, which is out of the lock cylinder. And I just take this little screwdriver in it, just like this, and try and start it. Oh, dead battery. Scratch that. Typical Volkswagen, right? If it's not a Christmas tree dash, is it even really running right? I got my doubts. Man, I got my work cut out for me. Auto scan happening right now. and I'll show you guys the result of this when it's done. All right, let's go through these codes. Start from the top here. We got some ABS codes. We got wheel speed sensor, hydraulic palm for ABS, and wheel speed sensor, rear left. We got electrical fault in circuit on all three, so more than likely a break in a wire somewhere on the left side of the harness or something along those lines. We'll take a look at that. Shouldn't be a big deal. HVAC stuff, no one cares about that. Airbags, no faults. Oh no, two faults, sorry. We got no faults on the steering wheel, which is nice to see. We got supply voltage, signal too low, no communication to the data bus. I have no idea, to be honest, what that could be. I'll have to look into that. But I'll definitely want that because I'm going to be driving this car kind of in its OEM plus sort of state, so I don't want to have any bags that don't deploy. And rule of thumb is usually when an airbag light is on, so if you have an SRS bag light on or something, some fault code related to the airbag system that's on, the airbags themselves will not deploy. It's a safety thing because they could malfunction. Seatbelt light as well, so if you have a seatbelt malfunction, usually the airbags won't deploy. Not across the board, don't take that to the bank, but it's sometimes the case, and that's why when you have a light like that, you want to address it, especially if you're not going to be running like aftermarket steering wheel, deleting the airbag, doing all that nonsense. You know, you want to make sure you take a look at it. Instruments. So we got outside air temperature sensor, short to ground. I'm assuming it probably fell off the bumper and was dragging on the ground and tore the wire. Either way, gonna look into that. Key, signal too low, intermittent. ABS control module, no communications, intermittent. A lot of wiring issues here, so I'm fairly certain that I'm gonna find some interesting stuff when I start digging. CAN gateway, okay, that's interesting. ABS control module, no communication, intermittent. Again, more ABS related things. So, you know, could be the module itself, could be wiring related, the harness. Won't know for sure until I start going to dig. But as you can see, the list is long. However, there are no powertrain codes, which is awesome. Which means that besides having no coolant and a bad battery and potentially a bad starter, and I think it might have a bad pendulum mount as well, because when I was clutching it on and off to get it in the garage, it was making some noises, for lack of a better description. So I'll be looking at that. But those are all kind of like things that you expect to be bad on a car that's sold, so I'm going to be replacing them to make the car just a better driver overall and make sure that it's sound. So like if I want to take it to shows, if I want to drive it 300 miles, I can. So yeah, that's really it. I don't know why. I thought I remember this list being a lot more exhaustive. I think it was just kind of a shock the first day I scanned it. It just seemed like a lot. But we'll see. I'm going to fix the key first, have that sorted, and then we'll go from there. Maybe a lot of them will disappear. I doubt it, but I've seen weirder things happen with cars. You know, sometimes something as dumb as not having a key or a bad ignition switch or something related to communication to the ECU or the cluster can cause the entire car to go haywire. And it just seems like there's so much wrong, and then you fix one thing and everything else sorts itself out. So, time to start digging in, I guess. Or maybe I should swap it.